I'm recording now. And first of all, I'm glad you have a microphone because I can't see, for some reason, I can't see the panel.
Okay.
I might be switching back and forth to see the panel. Anyway, Jane, first of all, did you just send me
Yeah.
no, that you didn't, someone else did. Do you have some
Oh, okay.
questions to begin with? I'll just see who's here. Do you have some questions, Jane?
No, not really. I got your feedback on my draft today. No, I don't think I have any questions.
Okay, this is a bit very new approach. It's actually very old what I'm teaching, but it's very new in regard to what's the general practice, and I'm fully aware of it. But if you ever go and watch people like uh, Ken Robinson, and everybody loves Ken Robinson and watches Ken Robinson, but I want to make the point that Ken Robinson is not just a jerk or a rebel or someone who talks about stuff that is out of this planet. In fact, he's very much on this planet. And the reason why we all resonate with his lectures and with his message, whether on TED Talks or whether he's actually giving lectures by invitation or teaching or writing books, it's because he actually wants people to do something worthwhile for children. Just like I'm trying very hard to do something for you, you will be doing, you will be working
Yeah.
hard to do something for the little beings. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Second thing I wanted to say is there is a culture in schools that doesn't understand what it means to create resources. As a teacher, and this is the things that I will teach you, and you do whatever you want throughout the next so many years of your career. As a teacher, you shouldn't just have a portfolio where you say, oh, look, I'm a great teacher and my children love me. You should actually have somewhere stored a database of your resources. You should, and by show you what I mean by resources, if you actually look at my website here, I share this website with students. Anyone can ask me to share this website with me. Desli, if you want to talk, you've got to click on talk and talk to me. I cannot see the,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
good.
I just got here. I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's all right. We started early too. Okay, so guys, so the way I store resources for myself, and you can do it in many different ways. So this is the learning community hub, a sort of page I created, a website. And these are my resources. I've got different ones. I understand them perfectly well, what they are about. And the way you organize your resources will be something that is going to be meaningful to you. And if I saw a game, or if you my students, like if when I will be checking your assignments, many of you will actually make references to some great games, and I steal them from you and I put them into my database. And you can see I sometimes say suggested by Bianca Maka, suggested by Natasha Handel Hardy, and so on. So you can see that I actually reference students from whom I stole the stuff. But these are the links. Using Google Sites, I create a database. And in a meaningful way for me, I actually store my resources so that when I have a class like today, or when I went to a conference to teach them what I'm teaching you, um, my computer broke down. So within an hour or so, I was able to actually recreate my presentation because I have all the resources online. So teachers don't have ready games. There are cooking games, and you can actually organize them according to the primary level or secondary level. You can organize them according to topics and according to all kinds of things. So it's up to you how. So these sort of things like topic, online resources, skills, activity level, I have actually named these categories here using Google Sites database. Um, and you can actually name them however you want. You should have resources and you should use them with students and you should have them available because now and then you actually need them. So that's the first thing. And there's no culture in schools of actually having your games organized and stored because you need them one day. You just basically come typically with just things for hands like um, clay or pencils or worksheets, which are great, but they are not sufficient. Or what I get from students, we will ask children to find something on Google. They're not going to find it. It takes 3 years to find anything meaningful using Google. So you have to have them stored and accessed. And today, what I will show you, I'll make the point that comes out from here, and it's relevant to someone is really loud. I don't know what it is, but someone is really loud at the house. Okay, so this is that there's a million of games up there. All of this good. What I wanted you to see is as follows. Now you will see today from today's class that I of course don't say just use the internet, but you have to use some games as well, because for many different reasons games enable children to actually control meaning, because they can actually see what links to what, and they have to make decisions with their own little hands. So in a sense the computer is actually challenging them personally. If we have classroom loud reading, like read aloud activities, they're great. But then some children not only are bored with it, but some children actually repeat, but they don't know what they repeat. Whereas computer allows another way of accessing information, and the child himself or together with the group have to make decisions what to click on. Now, so we have, that I will be talking about resource-based learning, because what I want to do is to actually teach you how to use learner-centered approach. And learner-centered, I don't care what they write in textbooks. I am old enough to have been almost with the day one when the whole learner-centered approach actually has happened. And it has come from semiotics, from the study of meaning, and it has hit technology in the 80s and definitely early 90s. And it actually began with amazing people, but it got diluted. So learner-centered actually means paying attention in the beginning with the kinds of questions that students have, not you. So you will see today that that I will address that I don't like. I actually don't like, and there's no other way of me telling it. When students when teachers come to the class and interrogate children. For you, it's fun. You think you engage them. For them, it's interrogation. And one day it's fine. 2 days maybe it's fine. But if you do it day in and day out, they switch off, because these questions are their relevance. You can see, but they can't see. So that's why technology, and that's why diversity of activities as well, with hands, with music, with iPads, with computers, with smartboard, because you want to engage as many senses as possible. A friend of mine teaches through cooking, because she says cooking is one way where you actually can but she teaches very little children, where all the senses are interplaying. But she does it as an after-hours school in Taipei. So, and she's Chinese, so it's okay. But you need more than just cooking, because we need to actually provide conditions for our children to expand, as opposed to just do things one way. All right. So when you actually look at something like this, so I started my presentation in Taipei with this sort of stupid game. Okay, so have a look how it works. So you click here, and there's a dog inside of the box. You may not see it, but it is.
The dog is under the table.
So
The dog is under the table.
So the dog is under the table. So you click here. It was bad. It was bad. So
The dog is under the table.
it was bad.
The dog is under the table.
Yeah, no, bad.
The dog is under the table.
All right, you can see it's a stupid activity, right? It's only stupid if you play it in isolation. And that's what happens in schools when they actually use games. They take a game like this, and today we do prepositions or adverbs, and we do the dog is under the table, adverbial phrases. So under the table, over the table, blah, blah, blah. Then tomorrow will be some other element. So it looks really stupid if you play it.
The dog is under the table.
But I will show you ways today whereby when these games are integrated in a larger activity, oh my God, kids are shaking out of enjoyment, right? But if you came to the class and you did this,
The dog is under the table.
oh my God, okay, so it worked. And then we go
The
somewhere.
dog is in the box.
I was here. Okay, it looks stupid, right? So another game I'll show you, which is wonderful. This one, I'm just boring you today because at this very second, because I want you to say the point where in isolation, I want you to feel how in isolation these things don't make sense. But actually, this one is a great one. Let's play. Notice I have switched off somewhere the music because it hasn't. This is you switch off the music here because it's most annoying. So look at this. We're making fries, French fries. So it wants you to open the door, I think. Oh my goodness. Because I'm recording, it's hard. The screen is not working really well because I'm recording it. Anyway, point is here. The arrow shows you what to click on, right? I'll put these links and you can play it for yourselves. So so the arrow shows you where to click and the door will open of a cabinet, and then you pull out the flour and you put it somewhere or whatever. Okay, so each of these things will teach you how to actually make French fries, and the doors will open. You will set up particular you'll set up your oven on particular heat level, temperature, and so on, and you will be opening the drawers and everything. It's highly interactive. You can read what these particular spoons and sauces are. um, let's try to reload it, maybe it will work. So it's a great game, but again, in and of itself, you kind of sort of sit here and you go, oh my God, what's in it for us? And totally right. Okay, so the point I'm making now, games per se are great. Games are great, but in isolation, most stupid thing you could do. It's not gonna. My computer today is a bit funny, but at least you saw the picture. That's all I care about. So let's have a look at what I'm actually doing today with you. Okay, there were other games that you can say, but they're not working. But they are that if when we talk about cooking, there is a Chinese cooking, Arabic cooking, French cooking, Indonesian cooking. There's 5 million games about, Okay, so you're slightly getting the point. So let's come back to our PowerPoint. Today we will just run through a little bit of not theory, but practical things, how to actually do things, and then I'll bring you back to this PowerPoint to the games, how to actually integrate them in a larger activity so that children actually see the meaning of them and they want to do it, right? And so any of those, if you still believe in phonics and you want to do phonics, if you integrate them in a larger activity, please do. It's just one of the things that children do. It's great. But if you change literacy into phonics and grammar exercises, you're not teaching them literacy, you're teaching them monkey business, which is basically if I do this, you do this. If I do this, you do that. It's very primitive, and children are not actually learning what literacy is all about. But so theoretically speaking, this is typically in textbooks, people say you've got to know your student. Well, it is such an old myth, but it's not even funny anymore at this day and age. How can you know a person? Oh, well, we group them into abilities, we group them. You know nothing. And if you watch this very clip of Ken Robinson, from the moment where I actually see, you can see it starts at the minute 34, and I have set it up to start that way. And you will see he's saying we're framing them according to our little myths, the sort of stories we carry in our heads. Knowing the student means nothing. What you need to do, which is what Robinson agrees with and talks about it, but the business guy, the chair of Harvard Business School, what he's saying, you've got to know the job. What's the job that what is your job? What is the child's job? What is the job of a child in learning literacy? What is it? What do you think? And that's what we're saying. We were saying literacy is about are tools that students engage in order to interact in a society in an increasingly powerful and personally relevant way. If you listen to Ken Robinson, he would talk. Education is about becoming increasingly powerful, and education is about developing personally relevant meanings, not just something that the teacher nods and says, yes, today is all good. So what I'm saying is, if you understand what's the job of a child, and it is to actually act on an increasingly informed basis and in ways which are personally relevant to children, then you think, oh, well, how am I going to do that? And it's not like you will know today or in a year's time. You will probably have an idea in 30 years' time. But what we're doing is actually, because work is never done, work is never perfect, we're developing ways in which we can support children to that goal. Now, curriculum is vital. To know how to read curriculum is very important. That's why there are bun fights everywhere about curriculum, and you will hear about it. I mean, you hear them about this today. It will never end. I am 50. Actually, I'm over 50. I've seen these bun fights all the time. It's just a nonsense. The curriculum is great. It will never be perfect. It's a kind of it describes as particular. It's a database. It's a checklist. It's a checklist. It doesn't tell us how to teach, but it says, did you think about this? Did you think about it? Have you thought about that? So we have a checklist there. So how do you work with a curriculum? It's very simple. You've got to understand the structure of a curriculum. There are things above and there are things below. You can't teach to the detail. If you teach to the detail, you don't teach the things which are above. You have to make the links. And the only way you can actually enable for the things which are above, which is what I used to call higher order thinking skills, but people talk about them today as general capabilities. The only way you can actually allow for these general capabilities to be put in place is when you actually engage children in the project. Without the project, when the children do a project, all kinds of things are coming in. Oh, I've got to find this. I've got to think about this. I've got to think about the audience. I have to think what the audience will think about what I am doing. So I have to predict, and therefore I have to think better. Because if I do this, the audience will not like it or they will not understand. I have to reflect, right? Which is what we're doing all the time. I'm not just producing a lecture for my students. I'm producing a lecture for my students in a way that I believe will resonate with you, because I'm predicting now your responses. So if children engage in project, they have satisfaction at the end and throughout, but at the same time, it allows for all the general capabilities to be accounted for. Projects are very important. So let's go back now. That's how you work with the curriculum. Higher order skills are will be addressed if the activity is large. They used to call it rich tasks. They used to call it even earlier macro task. Oh my God, why don't we just say project and we're happy with it? And then the job of a student is to construct powerful representations. And then your job is to support that process of construction. You need to help them with it. Without you, they will not be as fast in constructing appropriate ways of being in the world. Okay, so that's pretty clear. I know that it's pretty clear. If you have any question, guys, you just interrupt me, okay? Say excuse me or pardon me, Anya, anytime, anytime. So we've said it before, you can't just walk into the class without having resources. That's just an old way of teaching, because they used to have one book, right? They used to teach this one book. Before it was the Bible, then it was whatever, any other book. But teachers typically just walk with the book and with their questions, and they think that's the way to teach. It's not the way to teach, because if it was the way to teach, you wouldn't need this course, and then you wouldn't need any professional development once you are full-time teachers. What's the point? You do the book and you do some exercises to the book. You don't need professional development. You don't need to think. And when you do research one day, you will find out that that's exactly what is happening. People are giving up on thinking. and they just do the thing and just move on. And then later on they find out why is it that they're not in the leadership position, or something has changed, and all of a sudden they are being treated as sort of second class teachers, and you engage yourself in your job. And when you actually create a project with children, you will love it and they will love it. And you very often, especially when you're young in the sense of pre-service teacher, sometimes you may feel that, oh my God, if I don't do particular sequence, like if I don't first tell them to write an A and then how to sound it out, they will fail to read. And they won't fail. They will fail if they actually don't love working with you, if they don't have fun. Then you lost them. Aboriginal children walk out, other people remove children and make them do homeschooling. What you want is the joy in the classroom. Once you have a joy, everything else will happen. You stuff it up here, you stuff it up there, it's fine, provided you have a joy. Without the joy, you have nothing. So I'm a little bit running because it's a summary of all kinds of work we've done over the semester. So one of our students, brilliant, I got brilliant assignments from students. And one of our students identified these questions. Maybe I come to the class and now say, who's the author? What are the, this is the sort of things that she's thinking will enable her to approach text critically as a reader herself. Because the assignment one was, how do you engage critically? Therefore, once you have an understanding how you engage critically, maybe you can then somehow see how you can support students' critical stance to text, critical and creative, right? So she was saying this. So imagine if you went to the class and says, who's the author? What's the author's history? What's the purpose of this text? Blah, blah, blah. It's all interrogation about the text. The truth is that you will never know what the text meaning is, because that meaning is in your head, is a reflection of your own history. So if you want children to give you back what's in teacher's head, that's all right, but you didn't actually support their expansion. You need to actually generate expansion in children's heads. And it's not that you have to generate that expansion in children who come from lower socioeconomic background. That is just all. Yeah, people have these categories for one reason or another. I don't really believe in them. I think that whether you're a child of a dentist or a child of a construction worker, you have advantages. They are just different. And we often say, oh no, these children are coming from this background, therefore they don't have many books, but they have other skills. Whereas children with a dentist, right, of a dentist child might have books and might be able to read, but they don't have other advantages. So, we need to actually think how we can actually create expansive conditions. And this is where curriculum comes in. It gives you a checklist. Did I think about this? Did I think about this? You don't teach towards detailed outcomes. You use the outcomes to think what kind of conditions you put in place that enable expansion in all these areas: emotional, social, cultural, critical, creative, and technology, and God knows what else I have there. Now, this is new. This comes from my own research, so don't be surprised if you've never seen that before. I'm publishing it this year. So basically what I'm saying is here, when you work with children, be aware that every project has at least two dimensions in it. You've got to know what's the purpose of it, right? And the purpose is not, we're gonna do a book for older people. You've got to know what's that book to do. Is it gonna to make them laugh, to entertain them, to make them reflect? What's this book? What's the purpose of the book? Right? It's very important. So you have to say, so you have in your mind, you've got to, and when you work with children through this process of actually identifying the project, you got to get them to the point where they know what's this book to do. And then you can together come up with some ideas where the reference criteria are, what would be necessary to actually put into this book so that purpose actually is realized. right? And then the question for analysis, what will happen here is you will engage them in activities whereby children will actually realize those criteria. They will actually attend to them so that the book fulfills the purpose they have planned for it, right? So it's very simple. We have a purpose in order to creating a book for the people in order to make them laugh. So what do you want in that book? Oh, we're gonna have, so we go funny characters, funny plot. What else? Now remember, I'm talking as if children were already literate, but this is not true. You can actually work, you work with the same plan in a different way with children who are pre-literate as well. But you need to first, as a teacher, you've got to know what are the components of planning. So whether you work with literate or with pre-literate children, you still need to establish why we're doing this book. What is it to affect, to create? What is the outcome of it? And then kids learn that purpose has to be defined. And then it has to be also broken down into different things. What will we have there? What will we have there? Right? And then we go into doing these things. All right. Now, this is again from my research. You might not be able to see it. So the purpose is on the bottom and the reference criteria here, right? And then you have this table here. You will see it in the PowerPoint. It's online. You can expand it for
Excuse me,
yourself.
and on the,
Yeah. Yes?
will you be putting this up online?
It is already online on the announcements,
Excellent, thank you.
but I will update it as well. So what I do, I mean, I've written, of course, the entire book chapter for it, right? But what I'm saying is, for you, it's enough for you to sort of think learning is a dialogue. You already know what it is. It's an internal dialogue in your, this dialogue is already happening in your head. You're going like, I'll talk to you, and you pick up from it whatever you can. It's like food. Whatever, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb, right? So you pick up from my talk whatever you can absorb, and you see, how does this relate to me? How does this relate to me? How does this relate to my project? It's that internal dialogue. It's what learning is, this internal dialogue. So we will have activities, and you have to put some resources as well. So for technology, I put the resources have to have a high interactivity. For personal and social activities, have to support whatever is a bit sophisticated talk. But we will go through it today a little bit. And I'll take you through this social capital, educational capital. Now, for this assignment, I don't expect from you to actually understand it. I don't expect from you to become better at it than I am. But I want you to see today that every of those capabilities has to have activities and resources. So you think of an activity, what types of activities would actually be appropriate to support dialogic learning, to support children understanding that meaning is a symbolic mediation, that ethical and intercultural awareness means about knowing yourself and expanding that self. And then whatever I have here, it's about learning through assembling. Okay, I'll take you through it. I'm not even sure this is an updated thing, but probably it is, I don't know. But anyway, I'll take you through it now. So let's assume we're planning an activity. So first we're gonna, sorry, someone's door is open, and now I can hear the airplane or something, or a train. If you could close that window, that would be great. It's very loud, and that sound comes out on the video recording. So whoever it is, could you please close the windows or something, because we can hear it. Anyway, so the example of an activity is that, so this is the planning phase. I'm just taking you through the sort of structure of how to plan. So let's assume that the children decided with you, on the basis of whatever you did, to create a gift for older people. So you with them will, so if they have decided that they want to be nice to older people and they want to create a gift, you decide with them, okay, well, we will have to identify what the great card looks like. if they want to do a card, or what kinds of text we can write on the card to make it actually, what is it? To make people feel happy and entertained, right? Make people feel happy and entertained. So what kinds of text do that? What pictures we could put on it, and how can we best address the like, and put it in envelope, and how can we do the address and all of that. So children got the idea. Whatever things here you put in, it will be according to children's literacy level. All right, so they're creating a card. Let's have a look what we have here. I have just looked at the personal and social capability. And what I said here, let's assume that children create a card, for example, to entertain residents, or to make them feel happy, to make them feel happy. I wonder what is it that we're hearing? What's that noise? Anyway, so let's assume that children create a card to make the residents happy in some local aged care center, right? So they may do it. Okay, because I had a resource or a gift here. A gift. Okay, a gift. A gift. Okay, so they may do it by compiling games for them, because all the people need to do games because it keeps their brain busy and therefore keeps them away from Alzheimer's. They can create vignettes of photos, like showing, compiling photos of an older person and showing how they looked when they were younger. They can create a card, they can design an ebook, they can create a PowerPoint, and so on. They can create a poem. All of these things. Now, so the activities of the social. So basically, the activities are, everything is about, so personal and social capability. What we want here is for children to actually, in this capability, we want them to be aware that the community is greater than just their household, and we want them to feel that they are part of that community, right? But the community is not just, it's not fixed. They actually traverse between communities and pick up things from them in order to act on an increasingly informed basis. And because that's what we do. What we have in our head is a patchwork of our, which is a product of our interactions. So let's have a look. Social capital here. The activities call for resources which allow children to connect to people. And what we said, we did that because what we want to do is to actually, for children to actually create a gift for all the people, right? So already our activity is connecting children to people who are not directly part of the close community, actually, right? Not mother and father alone, but we want them to know that there are aunties, that there are neighbors, that there are people who live overseas, depending different activities. And there are people here who are young and old, and that will cover your outcomes also, which talk about being aware of age and life, having a sort of time span. But we're not all 6 and 20. So my mother is 20, therefore everybody is 20, and I'm 6, therefore everyone is 6. They get an idea about aging. So, right. So they expand their understanding of the community. Symbolic. The activities are to engage them in designing gifts or products or whatever, which in Australia are seen as appropriate, right? Because symbols, we communicate through symbols. Words, gestures, cards, pictures are all symbols. That's why we talk about symbolic mediation, right? So, but what we want to do is when children actually do these things, that they actually do it in the way that is received, the way by people, the way it was intended. And educational, what we want is that through these projects that children will create for older people, they will show how much they have learned about their community, about being older, right? So they will show that they are aware that these older people one day they were younger, right? So already knowledge comes through. So they learn about age, about the idea that 80 is not 20. They will learn about love and respect, not just for their parents but for others, which is very important. they will learn that the community is diverse, because we as teachers will give them resources, of course, but we will show them that our community is not just one sort of picture. We have people from different countries, they look different, they talk differently, they dress differently, and here's where the fun starts. So when we do actually create resources, if you want children to first of all, you want to actually get them on your side. You want to with them explore the community. Because you don't walk into the classroom. Well, you can sometimes, but in this case, for example, you don't walk in. You just want them to actually create something for all the people, but you don't come in and say, today we're going to do something for all the people. You can actually show them things that they actually learn, that there is a community, and you do it in an interactive way. So you show them some video clips. Have you seen this around our school? Have you seen this newspaper? Have you seen these cuttings? Do you remember how we had a Darwin show, whatever it is called? I keep forgetting whatever, every year we have the show. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Look at these people. What can you say about these people? Have a look here. So you show them pictures, and as they look through these pictures and video clips and so on, they find out that people look different, people have different age, people dress different, people show different things. Oh my God, there's an entire world out there. But look at this. How many people do you see young and how many people do you see old? Let's have a look. And then you actually explore the idea that you can show them aged care centers, you can show them pictures from aged care centers, and you try to talk to their hearts, right? You try to talk to their hearts, so they feel for these people, because what you want is to get their emotions. You want them emotionally involved in their project. So, and I wrote about other things here, if you can read. You can actually take children to an aged care center. You can actually talk to the director of an aged care center, because they have activities for older people, and an activity officer will die to have your kids there for just actually to even a tour, if not even to talk to older people. You can show children Google Maps, and you can show them where the aged care center is in relation to the school. And they'll go, oh my God, and then you can show them how to play. You can do it with pre-literate children, because pre-literate children can work very well with pictures on the map. And the Google Maps are as simple that anyone can actually work with them. All right, so you get children on board, and you in this particular way by actually showing them things and asking them, maybe we should do something for those older people. Wouldn't be nice? Wouldn't be nice? And they would say, sure, it would. So resources with text on cards which have different message and genre. Now, you may not understand what I mean by that. When you want children to produce a card, like a lovely card, for example, or anything, but a lovely card for older person, you don't teach them how to create a lovely card by showing just lovely cards. Because when you take a photo with your camera is not taking a photo. What it is actually, the way it does it, it's sensitized to contrast. It can only see contrasts, right? So it actually organizes these contrasts through pixels and through sensitivity to different exposure of light. So when you actually look at the photo, you don't actually, you in your head, you think it's a photo, but what it is just a series of contrasts. And that's how you actually can make meaning out of it. So if you want children to actually create a card, you show them different cards with different text, so that they can say, oh, we don't want this, we want this. We might say something, we might take something from this card, which is not actually the card we want to create, but there are some nice elements there, and we will integrate them in our card. Creativity is about assembling. That's why I put under critical thinking, assembling. You assemble tools. You have nothing to assemble if you don't expose them to different things. So you expose children to contrast, to cards which are written and have pictures, a sad card or a happy card or a neutral card, and then they go on now, and they will understand what makes a happy and entertaining card, because they have seen cards which were not. But so what you do, you enable them to assemble and choose from the range, and therefore the meaning is critically constructed towards a creative purpose. It's so simple. This is basics of semiotics, of meaning making, of a study in semiotics, but that somehow gets lost. And then what I see in schools is today we do a card. Here's the card. And now what do you think we will say? And kids say, oh, I have no idea what we will say. Well, you have not given them examples. You would drag it out of them. But but if I did it to you, you would be up in roar, you'll be upset, up in arms, be upset. And quite correctly, we need to give people examples so that they actually can choose from those examples. So they are assembling. Critical thinking is assembling tools and evaluating how much is in it for me. And if you actually then later on read stuff that I put here, you don't just show them examples and then this is the card is done. Take them do other things. What did I say? Um, So speech to text, text to speech, allow them to play with things, allow them to make mistakes, allow them to explore things, and allow them to how to, when they copy and paste or when they type things and imitate the letters. Imagine every teacher on the planet, well, not on the planet, but every teacher in schools, or most teachers, they want children to write what they see. But what about if they typed what they saw? That's still learning about recognition of letters. It's still fine. And then if they mistype, the avatar will say something different and they learn. But I've covered this in different lectures. But what did I say here? To dress up day, when kids dress up in different costumes, right? And they can actually write on the side of their costume what country they are from, right? So it's not about just, so through technology you expose them, you enlarge their perspective, because it's really hard for you to take children to Argentina or to the Philippines, right? We have a lot of people from the Philippines in Darwin. It's really hard for you to take children there, but you can show these examples of how people dress up or what people eat in the Philippines through computers, through computer games, and then you can play with it. You can have a dress up party. What else did I say? When children write, um, dear, dear, dear person or dear friend, right? They can walk the text. They can actually not write dear with letters. They can write their own name in the signature or dear with their own hands on a big card, which is as big as half of the classroom, right? So they can actually, not with hands, with a finger, but actually, you know how children put their hand in paint and just create a shape of the letter, like imprint of the hand after imprint of the hand after imprint of the hand. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect card. This is just about making them actually feel what the letter feels like. Doesn't have to be with a pencil. Doesn't have to be with following a line with a finger. It can actually be with hands. They can walk it. They can do it with their feet. Make them lie on those worksheets, big worksheets, and do it. I'm stealing these ideas from a scholar, a friend of mine, Dr. Jolanta Gallagher. She's from the ANU, and she teaches children, 2-year-old children, how to read music. And she does all of these things. So big worksheets on the floor, and children walk. They with their footprints or handprints, they create things, right? They jump on the letters, and you can spread the different letters of dear, and they can actually cut them out and put them together. But what I'm saying is all of this is great, and they are maybe even well-known techniques, and they're great. But now they have a purpose because they're doing something for someone else, and it makes them feel warm. It makes them feel happy. Uh, so well, so in your examples, in order to actually for children to show how much they learn about about their community, in your examples, you will show to them that people may speak different languages, right? If you expose 5-year-olds to the fact that community is not monolingual, Then when they're 14, they take it for granted. When they go and see communities which are monolingual, they will think, what's wrong with them? And that's happy. That's nice. They wear different clothes. And even in their cards, you know, you can actually show to them using actually Google Translator that they can actually write something in English. Then they go to Google Translator, they copy and paste it, and something comes out in Chinese. They don't have to understand what this word in Chinese, how it sounds out or whatever, although you can actually hear it when you click on the pronounce. But you can start playing with symbols. Now, the card doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to have much more than a few flowers and I love you, really. But so don't make a big deal out of it. It's not a card produced by you and me. It's a card produced by a little child. They can draw a heart and write love. Anya. That's it. But the value is not in the card. The value is in all those exposures and those strategies that you actually invented for children to actually get to the point that they finish the card. So that's very important. We want them to write Shakespeare dramas, right? Wait for it. What I want is for them to go through processes, through creative processes, which are expansive, but we show them all these different things, different clothes, different languages. We make them work with Google, where they actually type something which they already agreed that they will have on the card. Now let's have a look how it's in Chinese. Let's have a look how the Google Translate, they will do it in Indonesian, in Russian, in some other language. They learn now that the world has countries and many languages. And all it is nowadays, in the past, it was not possible because we didn't have these easy tools. But now, by just clicking and changing the language, they will see that when they click on something that you tell them it's a different language, the characters change. They will be giggling. You will not drag them out of that machine. It'll be funny. And if the machine can also talk at the same time and pronounce these things, they will find it amazing for a while. And if they put all of these texts, even if they were to actually imitate the writing, the Chinese writing, and somehow put it on their big card, as big as half of a classroom, that's fun. The card will look awful, maybe, but it will have so much joy in it that older people will understand it. Because an older person is not some grumpy whatever, they understand. Okay, so I'm just leaving here. What I am taking you through, the reason why I took you through the social, symbolic, and educational capital in relation to social capability, so that you can actually see how they allow you to break down the activity and the resources, therefore, you will supply children with into different aspects of the social capability. Oh my goodness, there'll be newspapers showing them that there is a community, and maybe Google Maps will show them where HK Center is, and we might even drag them there. Symbolic, it is that we will show them that there are different symbols through which we can actually pass messages, and also and they will learn that there are the symbols that are about sadness and the symbols which are about joy, or symbols which are about neutrality. So we'll show them, expose them to a few different cards with different texts. We'll make speech. We'll use speech to. We will use a device, text to speech, and the text to speech will read it to them, so they will hear it. All right. I've got so many ideas in my head, and I just don't want to lose all of that. So this is, you can read for yourself. Here it's irrelevant. Now here on the concept of play, what I wanted to say is everything I have shown you was about playing, without me ever using the word play. And I do it for a good reason, because people very often say, oh, we just use play. What does that mean? I don't want you to tell me you use play. You use amazing, exciting activities which you have actually aligned to capabilities and to these capitals, different types of capitals, and you are still practicing as a young person. So you did it badly, but I tell you one thing, if you do this badly, it will be way better than what's done in most schools. Right? So even if you apply this sort of breaking down of activities and resources into these categories, and even if you do it badly, it would be way better. And you are thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna do all of these things. All right, and that's gonna be exciting and so on. There's no need for the word play. All children will be doing continuously is playing. How do people do this? How do they dress? How do you do it on Google this? How do you find on Google Maps the HK said, ma'am, can I find my house? And what will you do? You say, not today? Say, sure. We've got an entire 6 weeks to cover this unit of work, right? You can today we was looking for our own house. It's fine. No big drama. What they learned is ICT. You can see how many capabilities. And they also here, I mean, I didn't mention the intercultural and the emotional, but you can see it's right in it, right? Emotional. They link up to other people. And as they do it with joy, there's the sense of self-efficacy and self-worth is growing. And when they explore these different symbols here and close, what they are learning actually is intercultural awareness, right? So you right in this activity, even though the description itself just focused on the social and personal capability, you can see how the intercultural and how the ethical and how the emotional, all of this are in here. And so is critical thinking and creativity, because they are creating, and by assembling from your resources, they get actually things they can assemble and evaluate appropriateness and create. That's why critical is not like, it's not about them dumbing down something. What critical means actually making appropriate selections, but you can't select unless you actually have an exposure. All right, so I'll just leave you to this. So the play, yes, it's all about playing, but it's actually without necessarily talking about it, because I give you a process. I don't just give you metaphors. We need to have a process. So this is a kind of thing you've seen in my other resources. I've spoken about it. I don't have time to talk about it because I've got to show you other things. You've seen this. I'm just reminding you. You've seen this. You can record. Children can record whatever when they speak. This is just record your voice. You can do that. Um, You've seen this one, must have seen it, it's very funny. So if you want this particular,
A senior figure in Malaysia reportedly asked for
it's
the
not showing
privacy.
here. I put up this video on thing, it's not showing because when we're recording, it's clearly cutting out, but this is the particular font that actually, as the text comes out, the voice is reading it. It's the voices I use whatever the software is called that reads text that it sees, and then so I synchronize the speed of this typing with the voice, and that reads it. So I made it slower, faster, doesn't matter. I explain it somewhere on those videos that I have uploaded there somewhere. This is the avatar, this is this funny game where you go to this particular website. I don't know what website it is. It's somewhere on the resources. Speed reading. I don't know where it is, on whatever link. And here you can type words. And it will be reading, and you can read it with it. So you can have this read aloud activity. This one is a good one. I don't know whether it will show, but you can actually, when you actually run, you have to run this PowerPoint to see all these things. So I uploaded. This is what this child is using.
I think of that time.
This is the family of which I do research. Look what he's using. He's using this app.
And let's see. Every
Percussion.
time that note made a sound, I was reading one word.
Yeah, what did you think? How did that feel?
Well, that feels kind of slow.
Feel slow?
But yeah, so
Do you want to try to do something?
This woman is a
yeah, we
musician.
should go faster, kind of like
A PhD in music and also a musician in
So we
America.
started at 60 and now you're putting it at 80.
80.
So you feel the beat?
The boy is 7.
Jem was set. Look in the box, Jem said. Mom, see what is in the box. It's off to it.
Okay. So you're filling in the beats now.
Okay, I've got 5,000 of these videos. I can actually include them here on this, and you can see how this percussion app works. This is another thing. You can actually go, you have a link here. You can go. A student of mine in this unit or some other unit, I can't remember what she got. She got her children to actually, the Lion and the Mouse. They were actually, you can get your children to actually create to read while at the same time create a resource. So you can see it, you can go to this link and you'll see, if you progress through slides, the whole book is actually narrated by her children. It's great. And this is something I have shown you, one of the resources, concept of the map. If children want to do an interactive map, you show them different maps and then they can actually explore. It's still a concept of the map, but just differently. So I'm just gonna leave this PowerPoint a little bit because I'm done with it. So I will save it, but I want to close it. I'll show you another PowerPoint, but I really wanted to show you. Okay. This one I did. Have you ever seen it? It's online, but you might have not seen it. So if children were to learn to play, to sing this song, right? This, you pick a different song, which is kind of more for children. I picked this one because this is from a PowerPoint I created for an activity for ESL students in Indonesia.
I've been around the world a couple of times.
So through PowerPoint, my husband danced.
Give me a home among the gum trees.
Okay, I made him do that to sing it. He's a professor of languages. He's been professor in 5 different universities. Okay, in every continent. So here it is. So if you click here,
Home,
give me a
home,
right. And if you want to see it, if you want to see this one,
gum trees, all
right.
plum trees.
All right, so we're happy with that. I wanted to show you this. And what about this one? It's again one of those boring things, right? Anya created a PowerPoint. Look at this, how many slides are here. A person appears like one page. Each of this is a link, and therefore it goes to the next slide and the next slide and the next slide and the next slide. If you don't know how to do it, I don't know. But the point really, which I'm making is here, it's a song, right? And you think, oh, Anya, what about this song? Well, I don't know what about it, but if you think it's boring, I agree with you, but let's have a look what to do. This is what I wanted you to see. I need to run it. Okay. I have to always acknowledge it. The pictures were provided by Natasha Hardy. She was one of my students in a unit that today we call EAL2, what is it, 221 or something like that, or 201. Anyway, she was my student and she created herself all these graphics, right? So she created this picture. So meet our village. Now, every PowerPoint allows you to insert a voice, right? So you can actually, you can put here a speaker and they hear it, meet our village. And if you actually did it the way I do it, which is with a text, showing letter by letter, and I'll insert the slide here for you to see it. So it's not actually meet our village comes out, but just MEET. So as the text is being read, every letter is being revealed. I have this French PowerPoint that allows us, has this particular transition of this kind of particular thing. I don't know, forgot what we call it. But in Australian PowerPoints, we don't have this. But yeah, anyway, meet our village. And look at this, they have a village here, right? Imagine now, if you clicked on any of these people, and say for it's on children, and if you say check what Philip likes, or his name is Philip and so on, and if Philip was singing, kids would be loving to learn the song, which could be give me a home among the countries, I don't know, any other song. Think of a song appropriate for the particular age. But you can see now, if someone wanted to learn about Philip, and if Philip likes singing and likes this song, then if you say to children, do you want to learn this song? They all go, yeah, right? They all will want to learn it. But if you just show them a song itself, they go like, oh my God, today we're singing, yesterday we were cooking, right? No connection. But the village allows you to explore through games and through other activities that you will invent from an amazing repertoire of the things you have in your head, the things you can imagine, the things I have suggested as well. and you can actually explore the village. So for example, the first one here is we live in New South Wales, find us in Australia, right? Now, this is not the best game for it, but this is a game and it probably will, oh thank God it works. You can find another game which is probably better for this thing. But you look, and we're playing geography game. Now, it's a stupid game. If I showed you this game in isolation, your students would go like, oh my God, why are we doing this? But now you know what you're doing. We're looking, they live in New South Wales, so Tasmania, let's say here. Oh, that was it Queensland? I didn't read it. All right, so Victoria, they don't know. Okay, so let's say incorrect. So maybe here. Oh my God, where's Victoria? Okay, well, whatever. You get the point. South
So would you do this? Sorry, Anya.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, Anya.
Yeah.
So would you do something like this up on the whiteboard, like the
Yeah.
interactive whiteboard?
Yeah, but another thing is that because this game is in, yeah, I would do that in whiteboard, on the whiteboard. But I have another game here, but I don't know where it is. I'll just have a look because I've lost my there's something. This game, for example, if you look at this, so New Caledonia, I don't know where's New Caledonia here. You could actually explore Australia around the world, and they don't actually have to read Indonesia or not, but they can actually see that there are different shapes of different countries. You can even do this one. Brunei. Anyone knows what the bloody thing is? Doesn't matter. What's this? Papua New Guinea. That's sort of easier. So there's another game. There must be some games which are more about, which have shapes of Australian states. So even if they don't read it, New South, but if it is NSW, then it's easier for them. So the game would have been more appropriate if it had sort of much easier. If it didn't have just Tasmania, but it would have had also a shape of Tasmania, it would have been easier. But I'm showing you just the concept of it, not necessarily the particular game. So we found where they live. Let's see what I did next. Look at this, what I did. There are many ways of doing this, but this is the simplest way of exploring the community. See, click and explore. Each of these arrows takes people to a different game, right? So game is just an exploration. They can take them to videos, it can take them to games, it can take them to other activities, and then you can move on and do the worksheets and the dance on the floor. You can do percussion on the iPad, you can take them to an HK center, you can make them learn to sing the song that this Philip who is here. Look at the community here. We have diverse community here, which is great. What a great opportunity for you to explore different cooking activities. But they're not cooking activities. We're gonna learn what they do. This is about adults here. I've got games here about being a baker, being an auto mechanic, being a fireman, being something else, right? I've got here construction games. So I think this one is about a hospital. They're building a hospital. I made it up. I don't know what they are building. I told them they build a hospital. And this game is actually quite funny because it doesn't have words. And what you can do, you make children actually put words into it. So this is a hospital. They're building a hospital, right? Again, you can remove that music. I don't know where. You have to study the screen somehow. It's quite irritating. So I can't do it because nothing will move when I record on the thing. But the link is there. Anyway, so the link is there. So basically, children can rearrange the furniture and call rooms by something. This is emergency. This is happy people, sick people. You know, whatever, waiting room or whatever. I don't know how much you want to, but they can create labels for every room which they created, which they designed. Or they can design a room. I've got other games here somewhere where they design the room and they can actually call each of the pieces of the furniture. They can actually give them names. So I don't know, somewhere is a coffee shop somewhere here. I don't know which one of these is a coffee shop. And then they rearrange furniture and they can put labels. Now on their worksheets they can actually redraw what they did as a game, and they can put labels on what things were. and they can actually create a card and say my favorite something, you know, and I don't know, or whatever, for whatever purpose they do it, I don't know, up to you. But this is just an example of how you can actually integrate games, activities without the computer, activities with iPad, activities with the whiteboard, activities like trips, because we're all learning about the community and we're gonna create a little story about our own community or about this community, you know. So this is just very imaginative way how to do that. So I don't know, this could be about shopping. I think I have something here about shopping. So if you do maths as well, because with little children you do maths, you could do, I don't know what this game is about, I've done it like 2 or 3 years ago, but there is a game I know that's with maths, so people, or maybe with just identifying things to buy, I don't know, I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, you yourselves know where to find these games, and this is just an example. So you can see how meaningless games. So I don't know. You see, it's gonna break. It broke down because I am recording it. So somehow it's not compatible with Collaborate. Not that it worries us, of course. Let's have a look what we have next. You can see every child. For every child, I have a different game. They're probably cooking games, right? And this, like a lot of times my students say, we will do a little activity about me. Well, about me is a nonsense activity. But if you have it in the game, there are my friends, this is the adults, and this is about me, right? My sister. Well, let's click what the sister is doing. That is some silly dressing game, you know, like, I don't know, whatever. You can put a different game. But here it's some game with doing, I'm not gonna play it for you, but you can actually, I'll upload it on the on the thing and you will see it. So this is about me and this is the game about me. You know, you've seen, you do these things in schools, but they are ready-made games actually where people can, where children can actually explore. Okay, it's not gonna play. It has it's not compatible with the Collaborate, but you will have access to it as soon as I upload it. So, and at my house, you'll see what's at my house. At my house, they're playing. I did that. I'll show you how I did that. Do you know how I did this? This television set?
Hi, we're Annie, Ben, and Mango, and you're watching us on Hoopla Kids.
It was a hot summer's day, and the line...
So this is from YouTube, right? I have inserted YouTube video through PowerPoint by using AutoStream and AutoStream's desktop. And then I put here a picture of a television set at the background, exactly. And it ended up to be a television set. Isn't it imaginative? Quite good. Now you notice that every time I have this, see who we are and what we do, I have...
Did you click on start?
Okay, well, see what we are and what we do. The reason why he says here, because my PowerPoint, my computer was broken, so I couldn't actually record it. But for every of those clicks, every arrows, you can actually put underneath a sound file as well, so that you can actually say to children what they will be doing if they click on here. I had something interesting. When they click on the garden, I've got this silly game about the garden as well. You know, so there's plenty of, you just look, and they're free. And they're pre-prepared. So I click play.
Let's plant a magic garden. First, pick a seed. Then, plant it in a pot. Click on the watering can to water your plant. Add magic dust to make your plants grow faster. Seeds!
Now I'll tell you something here. Think of pre-literate children.
Corn! Corn! Tomato! Corn! Tomato!
What can you do with
corn!
pre-literate children
Tomato!
already?
Corn! Tomato!
What's the difference between corn and tomato? Or tomato? Doesn't matter. One is short, one is long.
Color, size.
Well, color, size, but also corn.
Pick a seed.
Corn is one syllable. Tomato is how many? 3, right? Tomato, I don't know, depending. In Polish it's 3 syllables. In English it changes, depending on the year. But in my view, it's
Pick a seed.
3 syllables. So they don't have to actually read it, but...
Corn. Good choice.
Okay, we put corn. I was gonna just click on the word.
Hey, it's growing. Magic brown dust.
See how you can do it? And then you take...
Water. It's growing. Seed.
So, you see?
Tomato. Corn. Tomato.
Tomato. So, you can tomato. And you
remember to
and
water
then you can
our
actually
plants.
write on the whiteboard. After you can have this on the smartboard, and you can say
tomato, corn, tomato,
tomato, whatever.
Looks like
however
our
you
plants
pronounce
need
it.
more water.
But you can actually teach them, but the word is longer. We always are so stuck with the idea, but we have to do letters and sounds, letter and sounds. The perception of
Add magic dust to make your plants grow faster.
The perception of a sound itself is actually of the sound of the visual perception, and showing it's longer. You can divide it into 3 syllables. It's part of the things that we use actually as adults, but we had to learn it, and we forgot about it that we learned it. So there's a length, and there's different syllables difference. This is true. Sunflower.
Looks like our plants need more water. Watermelon.
Okay, sunflower. I think it's spelled together, isn't it? But he's spelled separately. So this is a long one. Sometimes we have two.
Whistling flower.
So whistling flower, 2 words, whistling flower. Oh my God, so it's one thing, one
whistling
object.
Flower.
But it contains 2 words. So we call one object with 2 words.
Remember to water our plants.
That's an awareness. It's fine. Alright, I'm just gonna switch him off because it's annoying. Somewhere there's most of these games have actually you can turn off the sound. Okay, but yeah. So you can take them shopping. You can show through games what the sister is doing, what I am doing, what my parents do, what the community does, what the garden do. Here it's about one of these things is a coffee shop, and actually, and it takes you to a game with a coffee shop. I'll just make sure that all these links are there. This is about the hospitals. They can rearrange it and name different furniture, and then actually do it on the worksheet, recreate the game. And they can actually, you can use the worksheets where children actually with drawings and with words recreate the games they just did with you on the computer. And remember, use the whole body. They can actually, and you can also choose music. How does for the hospital, what music will we choose? Is it, and you have to have some sort of tunes pre-prepared, short ones, sad ones, or fast one, or slow one, or happy one, and so on. And they can connect the musical awareness, emotion, and the building together. Right? So what will we do to make it happy? Maybe it's not in the game, but on the drawing they can actually draw some flowers. And how do flowers feel like? And they can choose the tune. You know, so as they do flowers, they're also connected to the tune. So the way they were writing the flower, they were relating to the word of flower, they were actually, so it's multisensory by, you know, drawing it. But then when you write it together, you can actually do it with hands. You can walk the text. You can associate it with a tune, and so on. So there are many different ways. But all of this is about the community, and it holds everything together. And that's why it is an appropriate task, because it's a macro task, allows you to actually integrate emotion, ICT, intercultural awareness, and ethics, because ethical awareness is actually being aware that you are part of, not outside of. What do you do with a girl who is sucking the thumb and doesn't want to interact? Well, according to people that I worked with, they will say what you do, you create mystery situation. What could be here? How can we find out? So you don't push the girl, you don't make the person who is feeling isolated and children ignore. You don't make them do things, but through mystery and also through then group work, where you integrate that person in groups where each of them is actually clicking on things and thinking how they do, or when they draw what they did in the game, that every child can actually have a moment when they actually add something to the picture. And other strategies that were suggested to me, make them leaders. And leaders function in many different ways. Leaders could be the group leader, but it could be a person who's holding, the name hospital. And then children walk with their worksheets showing how they drew the hospital. But the girl, who is the one who's sucking the thumb, is holding the text in front of them. This is the hospital, and they show the thing. And you could show this, you could do a show of our community as a particular event in the school for the community, for the parents, for aged care center people. If you actually manage to have a relationship, you create a relationship, you bring the children there, and then children show how they actually saw their community, and they describe to them through all of this, or draw it, and through all of these things. What seemed like artificial activities, and even that stupid activity when I showed you the one with sound matching. There was one here, really, this one probably, it's really low level. It's only low level, so start the game. It's really bad when you show it in isolation. That's what I did. I had my PhD student, a person who finished master's with me, and she's doing PhD. She will be doing a PhD. So she came to my talk at my presentation in Taiwan. I gave 3 because I'm a vice president and I do lots of things there. But this was my research. So I took the people at the conference through this sort of like this.
Bait. Bought.
Hey, oh, okay.
Bought. Bet.
They're
Bait.
not coming up
Bat.
because of the
Beat.
incompatibility.
Bert.
But I put this game for you as a link here. I'll give you the link to it. It's not showing because of incompatibility with Collaborate. But anyway, they had to match.
Bet. Boot.
You know?
Bart. Bet.
They had to make these matches. And so I was showing this game, and she's looking at me and she's going, oh my God, I thought my professor was so smart, and she's showing the stupid game, right? But I did there what I do with you. What looks like a
Bert. Beat.
like irrelevant, once children work to actually describe their community and so on, you could use this game and say, okay guys, so we have to write, so let's have a look what words we will use. Can we recognize them? And
boat.
So this one says boat. Can we find another boat here? Oh my God, they go, I don't know.
Bait.
Oh my God.
Bought.
And it's very interesting for them because they are now engrossed in the task of writing something, and you have taken them through a challenge of seeing whether they can actually discriminate. And they go, we can. We can't. Yes, we can, because you have them 3 or 4 together doing this, or the whole classroom, and they just you got the mess in the school. It cannot be worse than what they did in what school was it? In Menanda, they bought motorcycles for children, and they drove those motorcycles and were banging in the windows out of excitement, right? And couldn't be worse than this. The principal was very happy. She said it's gonna only be 1 day. After that, they kind of calmed down, and they did. So don't be worried about children moving. We don't really want them docile and pliable peons. We actually want them to move and dance and sing and be creative, right? So you can see an activity like this, a stupid game, once integrated in an activity where they actually do something for someone else. But let's have a look whether we're ready. Let's have a look whether we're ready. Can we discriminate? And when we have all of them collaborating in this game, it becomes amazing. It draws them in, right? So that's the difference. And that's what I pretty much wanted to show you today, how you can actually, by focusing children on creating something bigger than an activity itself, you can actually insert lots of activities there. So they check what Philip's favorite song was. They check what his sister's cooking looked like, or what does she do, or she dresses up in different clothes, or what does he do? He does, I don't know, he talks about himself through that game. What do the children from different countries in his community, what is it that they do? Or they were cooking different dishes. You can actually engage children in playing those games with cooking, and you will manage the level of challenge that children can take on in the classroom. And remember, there will be some children who will manage the challenge of the game much faster, much better, and others will be slower. So each child will get something else out of the game. But what you did, you covered all the capabilities, and you are focusing on the outcome and what they get in between. And if there are differences in how much they get out of those games, that's all right. That's life. That's normal. But at least you've covered capabilities and you're focusing on the game, which is to produce a card or to produce a series of drawings of our own community, right? And what is in it? Hospital, coffee shop, with all this furniture mapped out and all of this. You can actually print out from Google Maps. You can print out where our school is. I have something like that actually. If you still have time to look at it, I might actually be able to open it. I did it. Okay. I did.
Yeah, I'll make it.
I did this. Okay, I did that for. I don't know where it is. Anyway, I did an activity. I just don't know where I put it. I did an activity where I must be in my. I know how to do that. I know how to do it. Let's have a look. Food. Is it there? Oh, food. I'm not sure. But anyway, you can play with Google Maps and you can actually do it quite interactively, which is what I did. Once you actually, that PowerPoint I will put as an outcome of today's Collaborate, and when you actually run it as a slideshow, you'll be able to see all these things that I'm talking about. And what I did, I actually played with Google Maps I created a video out of it by playing with seeing things closer and at the distance, and then children could actually expand the perception of their school through this particular activity. Let's have a look if you can actually see what I'm talking about. I think it's this one. The thing is that I didn't save my presentation in Azure because I was so upset that I had to recreate it, but anyway. This is the school. Okay, let's hope that it will play it. You see it? Just by playing with look, you can see the entire surroundings of the Parab school and in Darwin. So just by playing with those plus and minuses, the distance. See how simple it is? Look at that. Ingenious. Don't know what I did else here, but yeah. Okay, I've got something else here. Different legends. Oh, you can see how you have water hole here. This is a water hole and this is the water hole. And then what did I do? And then I did something else. I can't remember what was the... And these are footprints. These are human footprints. And these are homelands. All right, you got it? So you show it like this, then like that, and like that. I've done something else. I don't remember. Honestly, look at it. I have no idea why I did these things. I can't remember anymore. Okay. Anyway, not to bore you anymore, you can see how so how did I do that? I just put this thing over it. And then I open that. So first children see water hole and then they can see more of it. And then they can see, you point them to different aspects. So what they do, if they create a map, for example, you can actually, by exposing them to different cultural ways of creating maps, and this is the Aboriginal map, they can actually use the legend which is not necessarily the legend we have on our normal maps. They can actually use Aboriginal legend. You see? So you can actually make them mix a little bit between the normal map that we create, so that the map that I just showed you of Parab School, they could actually use this. But if they wanted to describe where people walk and where the cars go, where is the water, remember there was a water somewhere there, right? They can actually use indigenous people legend to actually map what is where. And I think that's funny. So they would take a water hole here, which is here, right? The sign of that. And they will put, wherever you see water, they will put it here so that people know it's a water hole. And where there is a car or footpath, they'll put those steps of people, their own steps for all I care, if they want to actually put the imprint. But you get the point. Once children are exposed to different symbols, they can then assemble those symbols in a creative way. And there it is, creativity and critical thinking, right? So solved right in front of your eyes. Anyway, I hope that was imaginative and kind of clearer to you how much one can do. It's a very short course, the 12 weeks. Trust me, if you think that you go to school and you know how to do it, honestly, there's so much more we can learn, because we're just touching the base. But it's pretty that just scratching the surface. But that's okay. One has to start somewhere. So I pretty much finished for today. It was a bit long today. I'm sorry, but it was quite a lot to cover. So
That's okay.
yeah, so that you can get a pretty good idea what I mean by expansive and what I mean by teaching to the curriculum, and what I mean by rich tasks or macro tasks or whatever, and that's how you can see how easily you can cover the lower level outcomes and the higher level outcomes, which are the capabilities, together. And you use the curriculum as a checklist. And then when children do all these things, they will be learning how to actually negotiate symbols. I will use this, not that. I will learn about different symbols. So all the things that little outcomes are actually explaining for each year and for each subject, they actually are nothing else but just the general capabilities explicated in detail. So those outcomes are no different than the general capabilities. They're the same. They're just explicated in detail. And very often, and what children then do when you give them examples and expose them to different examples, they learn to negotiate what, where, how, when, and then you will see that they cover all the outcomes as a result. And that's how the curriculum works. And how do I know it? Because I spoke to Peter Freebody, who was essential, key person in writing that curriculum. And I spoke to him twice, but that time it was in November, actually. I spoke to him about it. And I asked him whether it's okay. This is how I work with curriculum. And he was extremely happy, because that's how you work. You can't teach one thing, because you never see one thing. You always see many, because that's how you make meaning. You make meaning by assembling. And if children don't get exposure to enough of examples, then they just do something with what they have, and then the teacher is not happy. But it actually was the fault of the teacher. Anyway, I'm done. Any questions?
No, you were very thorough. Thank you very much.
All right, well, I will make sure that these two PowerPoints, the community one and this one, are uploaded on LearnLine shortly.
So just a question. Sorry, Anna. So if we depict a book, so if we choose a book like the Lion and the Mouse before that are actual stories, and we change them, is that a copyright infringement, or does it matter?
Don't worry about it. No, it doesn't matter. There is no copyright infringement, because what happened here, I mean, she used the pictures, and you can actually say where you got the pictures from. Once you say where you got the pictures from, and this is for educational purposes, nobody is unhappy about it. I mean, going through the process of now writing to a person from whom you took the pictures and getting the permission is far too just complicated. I mean, I don't think that anybody will bother. I think just when children produce something, and that you yourself as a teacher can actually make sure that all the referencing is done. And if you have all the teachers, all the students, then you just make all the students to actually do the referencing. But once you reference where they got the pictures from, and they can draw those pictures, they can actually see how the lion is drawn on in the book, and then they can do it themselves. I have told you before in some other collaborate session we had before. And look here what I did. I preserved where I got it from. You see it? So that drawing, I did actually mention the copyright where I got it from. I found it on Google, and then I just made sure that I actually had the author here. But I told you the story before. Someone on my behalf ordered a banner for a conference, and the banner was, I never even saw it. I think I never even picked it up because I didn't know about it. But anyway, the banner was $738. Whereas I have students who are teaching.
Yes.
Yeah, they have 5-year-olds there. They would have done the banner with their footprints and handprints and in an amazing way that only they understood, and we would have hanged it there and would have been very happy. It's about integrating community in our activities. And doing it in a fun way. It's not about perfection.
No.
All right. If you have questions, just post them on the discussion board because they probably will come to your head. All I will be looking for in this assignment is an attempt at being courageous. If you want to replicate the past and told me that you use abracadabra or you use some sort of someone else's method, this is not the course in abracadabra. This is not the course in phonics. This is an intellectual academic course teaching you principles for thinking about literacy and in student engagement. And I'll be looking for this. I had in the past students who said to me, I'm teaching in a school where we use abracadabra, so I'll show you how I would do it. Well, no, you do that in your school, but you don't do it for me. For me, I need to see how you actually engage academic thinking. I'm not interested in someone else's little commercial product. Because I want you to think.
So basically what you want to see is the story and the curriculum. You want the curriculum and the principles and the practice that go with the curriculum and relate it back to what you're doing. So more curriculum-based than story-based.
And if you don't feel like writing to the complete detail, like for every capability, just show what activities you will be doing and what resources you will have in your pedagogic description, and say that even though you only spoke about social capability, it also covers intercultural and technology, and it also covers the emotional because of this. Just summarize it in 1 or 2 sentences, and that will do. Do one in more detail, and then say that it also actually, as you will show through the activities that you will show to me, it also covers the other ones. Therefore, and then I want to see particular games you will be using, particular way you will be designing things. I want you to be patient. I want you to know that sometimes one thing will take 2 lessons, not 1. And I will be looking for courage. I'm not looking for repetition. I mean, courage in the sense of, are you going to do something courageous, or are you going to reproduce what your mentor in school is doing by asking children to write A for half a day and then B for the other half a day, and then keep pronouncing it. This is A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. Right? If children want to sing the ABC song.
But you need, like, do you show a different way of doing it?
Yeah, I want that. Because I don't know any other way in which you can actually, with a straight face, claim you've covered the capabilities. And I want you to walk out from this course as powerful.
Yeah.
I don't want you to walk out and say, I think I did. I put some Vygotsky, I put some play, and she passed it. Well, not with me. I want you to walk out. I want you to leave this course. If you leave confused, I'm happy, because at least I challenged you. If you leave with a light in your mind, I'm happy, because you're now growing stronger. But if you say, I learned nothing, I will be doing in the PowerPoint, in the assessment too, what I've been doing for the last 20 years as an assistant teacher, you haven't learned to be strong. You need to be strong so that when someone asks you something, you say, oh, I've seen the world differently. One of the things I really need to say, I have seen an amazing world. I have, and not from Europe, actually, from University of Queensland. I had been exposed to amazing teachers, not myself. I actually through my own connections, through my intellectual connection, personal connection, I have seen teaching which was amazing. I have seen amazing things. I have seen students of French doing one day on French television. Right, so you could do it with children, redoing a soap opera or doing advertisement for a television show, or even, with all the children doing one day on Australian television, and it'd be amazing. I mean, when they will start doing, making fun of advertisement, making fun of the news. So, that was the ingenuity of how they were taking a Mickey out of all of these genres was amazing. So
yeah, I can see that.
yeah, you can see that. But if a teacher is supportive and you will never be perfect in being supportive. So where perfection comes is that the students want to do it. They're happy. They shake just thinking about it. They're gonna do this advertisement or something, and that's where the ingenuity of your teaching comes in. They are happy to see your face and to do the projects. And that's how do you cover the emotional capability, where kids actually are growing in their own self-worth. We did something we're proud of and other people liked it. I must be important. I must be good. Really, we all want to be good. I'm Polish, right? I'm Polish, so, and very academic and very straightforward, and I have 200 assignments. So you can see that sometimes, and this is a very good, funny story for you as teachers. So sometimes when I'm checking these assignments, and especially in the beginning, I used to write what was wrong with the assignment, right? And students who have self-worth, like ELA 200s, they have. And they would write, well, you didn't say what was good about my assignment. And I'm thinking, well, everything else was good. Just these things were wrong, right? I just took shortcuts, right? So my point really is, everybody has a sense of self-worth, even the people who think they don't have it, even depressed people. They depress because they have a self-worth, but that's not resonating with other people in their view. That's why they're depressed. So we all have self-worth. That's why it's so important that the children create things with each other and give it to people and see the joy in the audience. So important.
And is it important, like, I think I was a bit overzealous with my, like, trying to accomplish too much in 5 lessons. Yeah. So, like, gear it right back.
Yeah.
And take smaller steps.
Yeah. And you can then finish the assignment and say, it's not finished because it's only 5 lessons, but I will do this and this and this, and that's another story, another unit. Thank you very much, Anya. I'll be happy.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I just want to see curriculum, I want to see alignment, and I want to see courage. All right, guys, we better finish it because it's getting 5 hours now, this video. All right. So I don't know we're at week 11 or something, like week 12. Anyway, I think that this showed you quite a lot. So I better finish, and I see you on LearnLine, on the discussion board.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, guys, bye-bye. Thank you.